Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing well. This week's discussion question is talking about a pivotal experience in our lives, and I would like to share about the choices that I needed to make in high school that definitely impacted my choices today. So, in high school, I needed to make a decision on what major I wanted to go into. That way, I could get my associate's degree. That was a very big decision that I needed to take on very seriously because I didn't want to miss the opportunity of majoring in the wrong thing to get me ahead of a lot of other people that were going into their bachelor's, and I didn't want to start off on the wrong foot. So I decided to have a very serious conversation with my parents to see what was the best route for me, and that's how it all started. I looked at my options, what was I interested in, how could I make the right decision, the right choice that would benefit me overall. So I took into account all my hobbies, all my interests, and what I wanted to really do in the future. So with that in mind, I decided to major in the biology field, and I knew those were going to be the majority of the credits that I needed later on because I knew I was going to be in the medical or health field overall. So once I made that decision, I saw it through and I ended up getting my associate's degree at 18. And I knew that that time it was going to be really important for me to take into account that I'm going to be ahead of the ball game. I'm going to be with a lot of other students that are also in the same boat and a lot of other students that are not. And I needed to understand the fact that I'm going to be in classes with a lot of older adults, with a lot of adults in general, and that was a very scary thing. That was very terrifying to me. So that experience alone was very difficult because entering college, going to my first lecture was terrifying. I was very prepared. I was prepared. I will give credit to that. I was a lot more prepared than a typical freshman would be, but I did not understand the concept of that high school really carries you. It really does, even if when you're in college, because I entered classes, labs specifically, expecting them to give me the textbooks. As silly as that sounds, I was expecting them to have the lab manuals. I was expecting them to let us rent out lab coats and goggles and, to have all the equipment there that we needed. And that was a very freshman move. But at that time, I was labeled as a junior in university, and that alone was very terrifying. And that first semester was very difficult. It was very hard. It was a very big pill to swallow. And that experience, that was a very pivotal moment in my life that I realized that I'm not that big. I thought I was a big shot. I thought I was like, I'm on top of my game, I'm on top of my class. But there's a lot of students in my boat, and there's a lot of other kids that know a lot more than me, and it takes a lot to be at the top of your class when you're going against a lot of other students that have the same motivation and same drive as you. And I think entering the associates program in my high school was definitely a changing point in my life that really put into focus of what I wanted to major in. And I'm very grateful that I took that opportunity. And I was so focused on being a physical therapist that I didn't take into account what I really wanted to do, the different options, because they tell you, like, yeah, you can be a doctor, you can be a neurosurgeon, you can be this and you can be that, and it's just like, well, do you have the heart? I really thought it's money. I make money, I don't care what I am, I don't care what I'm doing, as long as I'm making that money, and it doesn't matter. But I started realizing that it does matter. It does matter. If you wake up and you dread work, that's going to affect you very, very deeply. And that's why going through these changes through my education and realizing that there's more options out there has impacted me in so many ways that I didn't think it was. So at 14, I made a choice, and by the time now that I'm 20, those choices are still affecting me, and it was a very interesting opportunity that I have right now at the moment. And it's definitely impacting me in a very positive way, but it's also making me grow up a lot faster. So those are choices that you make at a very young age can really affect you as you get older. So I think it's important to really sit down and talk to yourself and see what you really want to be when you grow up, because it's a pretty heavy question.